The bullet punched through the spotter's skull before Emily Carter even heard the shot. Blood misted across her scope. She froze, heart hammering against the sun-scorched rock. That wasn't random. Jack Morrison's voice crackled through her earpiece, cold and certain. He's testing you. Emily's breath caught. 900 meters downrange, her target lay dead, her shot clean and confirmed. But the kill that just happened? That came from somewhere else, somewhere her recon hadn't mapped. If he's here, Jack whispered, every sniper before you is already dead. The desert wind died. In the terrible silence, Emily understood. She wasn't hunting anymore. She was marked. Emily Carter's world had shrunk to a circle of glass. Through the Schmidt and Bender scope, the compound walls shimmered in heat waves. Adobe structures clustered around a central courtyard where 3 men sat drinking tea. They'd been sitting there for 2 hours. Emily had been watching for 4. Breathe, she whispered to herself. In through the nose, out through the mouth, slow, mechanical. The M110 semi-automatic sniper system lay nestled against her shoulder, its weight familiar now after 6 months of training. But this wasn't the range at Fort Benning. This was Helmand Province, Afghanistan. And the men drinking tea weren't paper targets. Contact in 90 seconds, Jack Morrison's voice was barely audible through her earpiece. The old man lay 15 feet to her left, hidden in his own nest of rocks and camouflage netting. At 62, he moved with the economy of someone who'd learned that wasted motion could get you killed. Emily adjusted her position microscopically. The rock bit into her hip bone. She'd been lying here since 0400. It was now 1320 hours. Her lower back screamed. Her bladder ached. She ignored both. This was the job. Target entering from north, Jack murmured. Black keffiyeh, AK slung low. Emily tracked left. A 4th man emerged from the shadows, moving with purpose. He wore the black headscarf Jack described, but it was the walk that confirmed it. Confident, commanding, Hassan Nazari, bomb maker, responsible for 3 IEDs that had killed 7 Marines and a Navy corpsman last month. The intel was solid. The authorization was clear. I have the shot, Emily said. Wait. She waited. The crosshairs settled on Nazari's chest as he approached the tea drinkers. 830 meters, wind 2 knots from the east, temperature 94 degrees. He's going to sit, Jack said. Give it 60 seconds. Let him settle. Comfortable men don't move when the bullet comes. Emily's finger rested outside the trigger guard. 60 seconds. She counted them in heartbeats. Nazari sat, accepted a cup of tea, laughed at something one of the men said. Send it, Jack said. Emily's finger slid to the trigger. Smooth press. The M110 barked, and the rifle punched back into her shoulder. Through the scope, she watched Nazari's chest explode in a red mist. He toppled backward off the bench. The other men scattered like startled birds. Good hit, Jack said. Clean. Now we wait for confirmation. Emily's hands trembled slightly as she maintained her position. First combat kill. The trainers at Benning had warned her about this moment. The adrenaline crash, the sudden weight of what she'd done. You okay? Jack's voice held no judgment. Yeah, Emily said. I'm good. You're better than good. That was a textbook shot. Jack shifted slightly. Now comes the hard part. Staying still while everyone wants to move. They lay in silence while the compound erupted in chaos. Men ran. Someone fired an AK into the air. The tea set lay shattered in the courtyard. Then Emily's radio crackled. Overwatch, this is Command. Confirm kill on primary target. Command, Overwatch. Target is down. Clean hit. Center mass. Copy that, Overwatch. Hold position for... The transmission cut off with a wet, choking sound. Emily's blood went cold. Command, Command, do you copy? Silence. Jack? Emily's voice climbed. I lost command. I heard it. Jack's tone had changed. Flat. Alert. Don't move. What was that sound? Someone just killed our spotter. Emily's breath stopped. The spotter, a kid named Ramirez, had been positioned 300 meters northwest, watching their backs from a ruined building. How? Emily asked. We would have heard the shot. We did, Jack said quietly. We just didn't recognize it. Same time you fired. The implications hit her like cold water. Someone had waited for her shot, used the sound as cover, killed Ramirez in the same second she'd killed Nazari. That's not random, Jack said. That's professional. Emily's heart hammered against the rock. We need to move. We need to stay perfectly still, Jack interrupted. That's what he wants. Panic, movement, a mistake. Who's he? The man who just killed Ramirez. Jack's breathing remained steady, controlled. And if you think I'm being paranoid, remember, nobody shoots a spotter by accident. Emily forced herself to slow her breathing. In through the nose, out through the mouth. The panic wanted to take over. She locked it down. So what do? We think. Jack's voice carried the weight of someone who'd been here before. Ramirez was northwest. The angle of attack means the shooter was elevated, probably the ridge system east of his position. That puts him somewhere between 1,200 and 1,500 meters from us. Emily scanned the terrain without moving her head. The ridge Jack described was a dark line of broken stone against the blue sky. 1,000 places to hide. Can he see us? Emily asked. If he can, we're already dead. Jack shifted minutely, adjusting his scope. No, he knows we're here, but he doesn't have the shot. Not yet. So he's doing what we did. Waiting, watching, hoping we'll make a mistake. Intel said one target. Intel is written by people who aren't getting shot at. Jack's scope swept slowly. Listen to me, Carter. This isn't the range anymore. And this isn't some tribal fighter who learned to shoot from YouTube. What just happened? That was a professional kill. Patient, precise, timed to our shot. Emily's mouth went dry. So we're pinned. No, we're in a conversation. He made the first move. Now we respond. How? By not dying. Jack's tone carried grim humor. First rule of sniper combat, the winner is whoever stays calm the longest. Second rule, never take a shot unless you're certain. Third rule, there's always someone better than you. That's supposed to be comforting? It's supposed to keep you alive. Jack paused. Command's gone. Ramirez is gone. That means our exfil in 4 hours is compromised. No pickup, no support. And somewhere out there is a shooter good enough to kill a Marine spotter at 300 meters using our shot as cover. So what's the plan? We wait until dark, then we move, slow, careful, and we assume every shadow is him. Emily's throat tightened. You've done this before. It wasn't a question. Beirut, 1983. Jack's voice went distant. I was the new guy. My partner was a gunnery sergeant named Kowalski. Best shot I ever saw. We were hunting a Syrian sniper who'd killed 4 Marines in 2 weeks. We found him, set up for the shot. What happened? There was another sniper, Russian. We didn't know the Syrians had advisors in the city. Kowalski took the shot. The Russian shot back. Kowalski's brains painted my scope. Emily's stomach turned. Jesus. I stayed still for 11 hours. Didn't move. Didn't even piss. Because the moment I moved, I was dead. The Russian knew I was there. He just couldn't find me. So we waited, both of us, seeing who'd break first. Who won? I'm here, aren't I? Jack's tone held no pride, just fact. But I was 23, could barely walk when I finally crawled out. Now I'm 62 and my knees sound like broken glass. So tonight when we move, I need you to be ready, because I'm not as fast as I used to be. I've got your back, Jack. I know you do. That's why I'm telling you this. Jack's scope continued its methodical sweep. The man who killed Ramirez? He's not finished. This is a hunt now, and we're the prey. Hours crawled by. The sun hammered down. Emily's canteen was half empty. Her uniform clung to her skin, soaked with sweat. The rock beneath her radiated heat like an oven. Jack hadn't moved in 90 minutes. Emily envied his stillness. Her lower back shrieked. Her bladder screamed. But she held position, scope locked on the compound below. Nazari's body had been carried away. The courtyard stood empty now. At 1600 hours, Jack's radio crackled. Overwatch, this is Bravo 2. Do you copy? Emily's heart leaped. That's Lieutenant Morrison's patrol. Don't answer, Jack said sharply. What? Why? Listen to the voice. Emily did. The transmission came again. Overwatch, Bravo 2. We're inbound to your position for emergency exfil. Pop smoke for visual confirmation. The voice was American, Midwest accent, professional military cadence. But something was off. Emily couldn't place it. What's wrong with it? She whispered. Bravo 2 is call sign for Morrison's patrol, Jack said quietly. But Morrison's been dead for 3 months. Heart attack in Kandahar. I was at the funeral. Emily's blood went cold. Someone's using our comms, Jack continued. They've got our frequencies, our call signs, and they want us to light ourselves up with smoke so they can shoot us. Now you're learning, Jack's tone hardened. This isn't a coincidence, Carter. Ramirez dead, commands silent, fake exfil calls. Someone planned this, someone who knows how we operate. The radio crackled again. Overwatch, be advised, we have hostile activity in your sector. Need immediate confirmation of your status. Emily's finger twitched toward the transmit button. Every instinct screamed to answer, to reach out, to connect with someone, anyone, in the vast emptiness of the desert. Don't, Jack said. That's what he wants. The moment you key that mic, he triangulates. Then he shoots. How do you know it's the same person? Because this is exactly what I do. Jack shifted microscopically, easing pressure off his hip. Isolation, silence, then offer hope. Make them desperate enough to break protocol. It's PsyOps 101. The transmission came a third time. Overwatch, this is Bravo 2. If you don't respond in 60 seconds, we're aborting exfil. Confirm your status. Over. Emma, you see that? What am I looking for? Movement. Maybe, I'm not sure. Jack swung his scope, paused. I see it. Could be a bird. Could be. They watched. The movement came again. Deliberate, controlled. That's not a bird, Jack said quietly. That's a scope glint. He's scanning. He's showing himself? No, he's telling us he knows we're here. Jack's voice carried grudging respect. Smart. He can't find us precisely, so he's applying pressure, making us doubt, making us wonder if he has the shot. Does he? Not yet. If he did, you'd be dead. Jack paused. But he's close, and when the sun drops another 10 degrees, the angle will be right. He'll have clear sight lines. So we move now? No, we let him think he's won. Jack's tone went cold. There's a wadi 200 meters south, deep enough for cover. We crawl there, slow, 1 meter per minute. Let the shadows hide us. That's over 3 hours of crawling. You got somewhere better to be? Emily almost laughed. What about gear? Leave the rifle. Take your sidearm, 1 canteen, compass. Everything else stays. We move light or we don't move at all. The thought of abandoning her M110 felt like losing a limb, but Jack was right. Speed mattered now, or rather, slow, invisible movement mattered. On my mark, Jack said, and Carter, don't look back at him. Eyes can reflect light. He's waiting for that. Emily took one last look at the ridge through her scope. The glint was still there, watching, patient. Then she set the scope aside and began the slowest crawl of her life. 3 hours and 40 minutes later, Emily collapsed into the wadi. Her elbows bled through her uniform. Her knees felt shredded. Every muscle screamed. But they'd made it. 200 meters of glacial movement through loose rock and thorn scrub, and they'd reached the depression without drawing fire. Jack tumbled in beside her, breathing hard. In the twilight, his face looked 10 years older. "You good?" Emily gasped. "Define good." Jack sucked air through his teeth. "But I'm alive. That counts." Emily pulled her canteen. 3 swallows left. She took one and handed it to Jack. He shook his head. "Yours. You need it more." "We both need it." "I'm 62. I've had my life." Jack's tone was matter-of-fact. "You're 27. Do the math." "Shut up and drink, old man." Jack's lips twitched. He took the canteen. 1 swallow. Handed it back. "Saving the rest for when we're really desperate." "We're not desperate now." "This?" Jack gestured at the darkening desert. "This is Tuesday." Emily barked a laugh. The sound surprised her, broke the tension. Then gunfire erupted. Not close, maybe 500 meters north. AK fire. 3-round bursts. Professional. "That's not random," Jack said, listening. "That's suppression fire." "Suppressing what?" "Our old position." Jack's expression went grim. "He's firing at where we were, making sure we're gone." "Why not just check?" "Because walking up to a sniper's hide is a good way to get shot by a sniper." Jack listened to the pattern. He's smart, wasting ammunition to buy certainty. The firing stopped. Silence rushed back. "He knows," Emily whispered. "Yeah, he knows." Jack pulled his sidearm, checked the chamber, which means he'll start hunting. And this wadi only runs south for another click before it opens up. We're in a funnel. "So what's the play?" Jack was quiet for a long moment. "We set a trap." "With what?" "We left the rifles." "We didn't leave everything." Jack reached into his vest and pulled out a small device. Emily recognized it, a trip flare, standard issue for perimeter defense. "You want to light us up?" "I want to light him up." Jack's smile was wolfish. "He's hunting us in the dark, patient, methodical. What he's not expecting? For the prey to bite back." They moved south through the wadi for 20 minutes before Jack found the spot he wanted. The depression narrowed here. Walls of cracked stone rose 8 feet on either side, a natural choke point. Anyone following the wadi would have to pass through. "Here," Jack said. "We set the flare on a tripwire across the path. When he triggers it, we'll have 3 seconds of light. That's our window." 3 seconds to shoot in the dark? 3 seconds where he's blind and we're not. Jack strung the wire low, maybe 6 inches off the ground. Invisible in the darkness. "I'll take right side, you take left. Pistols only. Aim center mass. And for God's sake, don't shoot me." Emily's hands trembled as she chambered around. The Beretta M9 felt too light after the M110, too close range. They took positions on opposite sides of the narrow passage. Emily pressed her back against cold stone, controlled her breathing, listened. The desert at night was never truly silent. Wind whispered through rocks. Somewhere a bird called. Her own heartbeat thundered in her ears. Then, footsteps, slow, measured, moving down the wadi toward them. Emily's grip tightened on the Beretta. Jack was a shadow across from her. She couldn't see his face, but she felt his presence. Steady, ready. The footsteps came closer. Emily held her breath. The tripwire snapped. The flare ignited with a harsh magnesium glare, turning night into day. And in that 3-second window of searing white light, Emily saw him. Tall, maybe 6'2", dark clothing, face wrapped in a shamag, and in his hands, a Dragunov sniper rifle slung low. He was 15 feet away. Both pistols barked. Jack's shot hit high, right shoulder. Emily's took him in the chest. The man staggered but didn't fall. His hand went to his rifle. Again, Jack shouted. They fired simultaneously. This time the man went down. The flare guttered out. Darkness crashed back. Emily's ears rang. Cordite smell filled the narrow space. Stay put, Jack ordered. He moved forward, pistol up. Emily heard him kick something. Metal scraped stone. Then Jack's voice, tight with shock. Carter, you need to see this. Emily moved forward on shaking legs. Jack pulled a chem light, cracked it. Green glow filled the wadi. The man on the ground stared sightlessly at the stars. But it was what he wore that made Emily's blood freeze. American combat boots, U.S.-issued tactical vest, and on his shoulder, a patch she recognized. 5th Special Forces Group. He's ours, Emily whispered. Was ours, Jack corrected grimly. He pulled the shamag away from the man's face. Emily didn't recognize him. Mid-30s, hard features, 3-day stubble. Jack did, though. She saw it in the way his jaw tightened. You know him, Emily said. Staff Sergeant Marcus Webb, Delta Force, was reported KIA in Syria 2 years ago. Jack's voice was hollow. I was at his memorial service too. Then how? I don't know. Jack searched the body quickly, found a radio, a sat phone, and a piece of paper with coordinates written in precise handwriting. Their coordinates from yesterday. Someone gave him our position, Jack said slowly. Someone with access to our operational data. That's impossible. Those systems are... Nothing's impossible when the traitor is on the inside. Jack stood, joints creaking. Webb didn't just find us, he was pointed at us. Emily's mind reeled. Why? That's what we're going to find out. Jack pocketed the sat phone. But first we need to get out of this wadi. Because if Webb was the hitter, who was on that ridge? The question hung in the air. Then the radio in Webb's vest crackled. A voice spoke. Deep, accented, not American. Marcus, report status. Jack and Emily froze. The voice came again. Marcus, I heard shots. Confirm kill. Jack picked up the radio slowly, keyed the mic. Marcus is dead. Silence, then a low chuckle. Ah, so the prey has teeth after all. The accent was clear now, Russian. You must be Morrison. Your reputation precedes you. Who is this? Someone who remembers Beirut, Jack. Do you remember? 1983, the rooftop near the embassy. Jack's face went white. You remember now, yes? The voice turned cold. You killed my instructor, Viktor Sokolov, the best sniper the Soviet Union ever produced. And now, after 42 years, I am here to repay that debt. The radio went dead. Jack stood frozen, staring at nothing. Jack? Emily's voice seemed to come from far away. Jack, who is Viktor Sokolov? Jack's hand trembled as he lowered the radio. When he spoke, his voice was barely a whisper. The man I never actually killed. Emily grabbed Jack's arm. What do you mean you never killed him? Jack sank against the wadi wall. The chem light cast his face in sickly green. He suddenly looked every one of his 62 years. Beirut, 1983. Kowalski died trying to kill a Syrian sniper. I waited 11 hours. Then I took the shot. Hit the Syrian clean. Packed up and left. Jack's eyes were distant, reliving something Emily couldn't see. 3 days later, intelligence came through. The Syrian was good, but he wasn't the one we were hunting. There was a second sniper, Russian, a consultant training Syrian forces. Sokolov, Emily said. Viktor Sokolov, legend in the Soviet military, credited with over 200 confirmed kills. Chechnya, Afghanistan, Angola, everywhere the Soviets wanted someone dead quietly. Jack's jaw tightened. He was the one who killed Kowalski. The Syrian was just practice. But you said... I said I killed my target. I did. But Sokolov? Jack shook his head. He vanished after Beirut. CIA lost track. Some reports said he died in Afghanistan in '87. Others said he defected, became a contractor. We never knew for sure. And now his student is here. Emily's throat was dry. Hunting us. Not just hunting, executing a plan. Jack picked up Webb's sat phone, scrolled through recent calls. Webb was reported KIA in Syria, except he wasn't dead. He was turned. Someone got to him, flipped him, and then aimed him at us. Why us specifically? Because I'm the man who killed Sokolov's best friend. And you? Jack met her eyes. Your leverage. The new generation. He's proving something. Proving what? That he's better than his teacher. Better than me. That the old ways still work. Jack's expression hardened. This isn't about money or politics. This is personal. This is legacy. Emily's mind raced. So what's his next move? He knows Webb failed. He knows we're armed and mobile, so he'll adapt. Jack checked his pistol. 11 rounds left. And he'll be angry. Angry snipers make mistakes. Or they get ruthless. That too. Jack pulled Webb's rifle closer. The Dragunov was battered but functional. At least now we have something with range. Can you shoot it? I can shoot anything. Jack worked the bolt. Smooth. Clean. But I'm not the one who needs to. You are. Me? I'm 62. My eyes aren't what they were. My hands shake more than they should. But you? Jack handed her the rifle. You just made a kill shot at 830 meters under combat stress. You've got the gift, Carter. You just need to trust it. Emily took the Dragunov. It felt foreign compared to her M110. Heavier, the balance was off. But it was a rifle, and right now, that was everything. What's the plan? She asked. We move to high ground, find a position with clear sight lines, and we wait for him to come to us. Jack stood, grunting with effort. But this time, we're not the prey, we're the ambush. He'll expect that. He'll expect me to expect that. Jack's smile was grim. That's why we're going to do it anyway. Sometimes the obvious play is obvious because it works. They climbed out of the wadi as the moon rose. Silver light painted the desert in shades of gray. Every rock threw a shadow. Every shadow could hide death. Emily's hands were steady on the Dragunov now. The fear was still there, coiling in her gut. But something else was there too. Anger. Whoever Sokolov's student was, he'd killed Ramirez, used Webb as a weapon. Turned this into a game of revenge that had nothing to do with her. But she was in it now, and she'd be damned if she died for someone else's grudge. Jack, she said quietly as they moved, when we find him, if we find him, Jack corrected. When we find him, Emily repeated, I'm taking the shot. Jack glanced at her, saw something in her face that made him nod. Yeah, he said, I think you are. They found the position just before midnight, a collapsed watchtower from the Soviet occupation, half buried in sand and time. 3 walls still stood, offering cover from 3 directions. The 4th opened onto a clear view of the valley below and the ridge beyond. This'll do, Jack said. He was limping now, favoring his left knee. The 3-hour climb had cost him. Emily swept the ruins with the Dragunov scope. No movement, no heat signatures visible to the naked eye. Just endless desert and the skeletal remains of a war fought before she was born. Soviet base? She asked. Observation post. They built these all over Afghanistan in the 80s. Watched for Mujahideen movement. Jack eased himself down against the wall, grimacing. Lot of good it did them. Emily set up behind the broken wall facing the valley. The Dragunov's bipod settled into sand. She adjusted the scope, checked the 0. It was off from her M110, but not by much. Maybe 2 minutes of angle at distance. How's your ammo? Jack asked. 8 rounds in the rifle. 1 spare mag. 10 rounds. Emily's stomach tightened. 18 total. Make them count. Jack pulled Webb's sat phone. The screen glowed in the darkness. I'm going through his call log. Maybe we can figure out who's running this operation. Emily kept watch while Jack scrolled. The moon was bright enough to cast shadows now, beautiful and dangerous. Perfect light for a patient shooter. Most calls are encrypted, Jack muttered. But there's one number that repeats. 15 calls in the last 3 days. Can you trace it? Not without better equipment. Jack's jaw tightened. But the call duration is interesting. Never more than 30 seconds. That's tactical communication. Brief, efficient. Orders, Emily said. Yeah, someone was directing Webb, feeding him intelligence. Our movements, our protocols. Jack looked up. Carter, I need you to think. Last 3 days. Did you notice anything off? Anyone asking questions they shouldn't? Emily's mind raced back. 3 days ago, she'd been at Forward Operating Base Salerno. Final briefing before this op. The usual faces. Lieutenant Morrison, Sergeant Chen, Captain Rodriguez from Intelligence. Nothing stood out, she said. Standard pre-mission brief. Who knew your exact position today? Mission Command, you, Ramirez, Emily paused, and whoever filed the flight plan for our emergency exfil, which never came. Jack's expression darkened. Because someone made sure it wouldn't. A sound. Emily's head snapped around. Did you hear that? What? Movement. South side. They froze, listened. There it was again. Scuff of boot on rock. Faint, maybe 50 meters away. Emily brought the Dragunov up smoothly, scope to eye, searching. Nothing. Talk to me, Jack whispered. I heard it. I know I did. Emily's finger rested on the trigger guard. Something moved. Animal? Wrong cadence. Emily scanned systematically, left to right, high to low. That was bipedal. Jack drew his Beretta, pressed against the wall. How many rounds you want to waste checking? None. Emily kept the scope up. But I'm not imagining things. Never said you were. Jack's breathing was controlled, professional. He's probing, testing our position, seeing if we'll give ourselves away. So we sit? We sit. 5 minutes passed. 10. Emily's arms burned from holding the rifle steady. Sweat ran down her spine despite the desert chill. Then the sat phone in Jack's hand vibrated. Both of them stared at it. It vibrated again. Incoming call. The number was unknown. Don't answer it, Emily said. Jack's thumb hovered over the screen. What if it's command? Command doesn't have this number. Only Webb's handler does. The phone vibrated a third time. Jack answered. Put it on speaker. Said nothing. Silence on the line. Then, hello, Jack. The voice was the same. Russian accent, calm, almost friendly. You know my name, Jack said. I don't know yours. Names are unimportant, but if you wish to call me something, use Alexander. It is close enough. Alexander what? A low chuckle. Alexander Sokolov. I am Victor's son. Emily's blood turned to ice. Jack's face remained impassive, but his knuckles went white around the phone. Victor never mentioned a son, Jack said. Victor mentioned very little to anyone. It was his way. Alexander's voice carried no anger, just statement of fact. But I was there, Jack. Beirut. I was 16, learning my father's craft. I watched through binoculars when you killed Dmitri. Dmitri? The Syrian, my father's friend, his protege. Alexander paused. You thought you killed my father that day. Intelligence told you Victor Sokolov was the target, but you shot the wrong man. Jack's jaw worked. Your father used Dmitri as bait. My father used everyone as bait. It was his genius. Pride crept into Alexander's voice. While you celebrated your kill, we disappeared, vanished into the chaos of Lebanon, and my father taught me everything he knew, every trick, every technique, everything that made him legendary. Then he really is dead, Emily said quietly. Who is this? Alexander's tone sharpened. The girl? The new sniper? Captain Emily Carter, Emily said, voice steady, and I'm the one who killed your hired gun. Silence. Then Alexander laughed. Ah, Marcus. I wondered why he stopped reporting. Tell me, Captain, was it a clean kill? Clean enough. Good. He was adequate but predictable. Americans often are. Alexander's voice turned contemplative. You, though, you are interesting. 830 meters on your first combat kill. Hassan Nazari, very precise, very patient. Emily's stomach dropped. How do you know that? I watched you take the shot. I was on the Eastern Ridge. Beautiful form, textbook breathing. Your instructors at Fort Benning taught you well. Fort Benning is public knowledge, Jack cut in. Yes, but Emily's qualification scores are not. 97% accuracy at 1,000 meters, second in her class. Only failed the top spot because of a windage miscalculation on day 12 of training. Alexander paused. Should I continue? Or do you understand now that I know everything about you? Emily felt exposed, naked. Someone had been watching, learning, preparing. What do you want? Jack asked. What my father never got. Acknowledgement. Alexander's voice hardened. You killed Dmitri and called yourself a hero, collected your medals, told your stories, but you never faced a true equal. My father spent his life hunting men like you, men who thought one lucky shot made them legends. I never claimed to be a legend. No, you claimed to be the best. Alexander's words cut like razors. Your reputation precedes you, Jack Morrison, the sniper who never missed, the man who trained a generation of American shooters. But you never faced Victor, and now you never will, because he died 3 years ago. Cancer, quiet, forgotten. I'm sorry for your loss, Jack said and sounded like he meant it. I don't want your sympathy. I want your admission. Alexander's breathing changed, harder, faster. Admit that you survived Beirut through luck. Admit that if my father had wanted you dead, you would have died. I can't admit something I don't believe. Then I will teach you belief. The line went dead. Emily lowered the rifle. He's insane. No. Jack set the phone down carefully. He's grieving, and he's channeling that grief into a mission, which makes him more dangerous, not less. He knows everything about us, our training, our positions. He knows what was in our files. That's different from knowing us. Jack met her eyes. Intel is static. People adapt. That's our edge. Some edge. Emily's hands trembled. He watched me kill Nazari. He was there the whole time, and we never saw him. Because he's very good, Jack's tone held grudging respect. Maybe as good as Victor was, maybe better. How do we fight someone like that? The same way I survived Beirut. We don't fight him, we outlast him. Jack checked his watch. It's 01:30 hours, dawn in 5 hours. He'll move before then. Try to catch us in twilight when shadows distort everything. So we move first? No, we make him think we did. Jack's smile was cold. We're going to give him a target, just not the one he's expecting. Jack's plan was simple and brutal. They stuffed Webb's tactical vest with sand and rocks until it roughly approximated a human torso. Added his helmet, propped the whole arrangement behind the wall facing the valley, visible in profile. He'll know it's a decoy, Emily said. Eventually, but that's not the point. Jack set up a thin tripwire connected to the decoy. The point is to see how long it takes him to figure it out, and where he shoots from when he does. You want him to take the shot? I want him to reveal his position. Jack's tone was matter of fact. Right now he's a ghost, everywhere and nowhere. But the moment he fires, he's a point on a map, and points can be eliminated. Emily understood the logic, didn't like it, but understood it. They positioned themselves 20 meters from the decoy, hidden in a depression where the watchtower foundation had collapsed inward. Jack took north watch. Emily took south, both with clear views of the surrounding terrain. When he shoots, Jack said quietly, you'll have maybe 3 seconds to acquire and fire. He won't stay exposed longer than that. What if I miss? Then we're dead. Jack's honesty was almost comforting. But you won't miss. I've seen you shoot, Carter. You've got the talent. You just need to trust it. Emily settled behind the Dragunov, controlled her breathing, let her heartbeat slow, and waited. Time crawled. Emily's legs cramped, her neck ached. The moon tracked west, shadows rotating like a slow clock. At 0347 hours, Jack's hand signals changed. Alert. Movement. Emily shifted microscopically, followed his eyeline. There, North Ridge, maybe 800 meters, a shape against the stars that didn't belong. Emily brought the scope up, searched, found him. He was a shadow within shadows, prone, rifle up, scanning. Emily's crosshairs settled on center mass, finger on the trigger, waiting. Not yet, Jack breathed. Let him commit. The shape went still, perfect stillness, sniper stillness. Then the muzzle flash. The decoy's helmet exploded, sand and fabric sprayed. Now, Jack barked. Emily fired. The Dragunov kicked. Through the scope, she saw the shape jerk, but not fall. Hit, Jack confirmed, but not. Return fire. 3 rounds rapid. Rock exploded above Emily's head. Shrapnel stung her cheek. She rolled left, worked the bolt, fired again. Miss. The shape was moving now. Fast. Professional. Jack fired his pistol. Futile at this range, but it forced their target to keep moving. He's breaking contact, Jack said. We heard him but didn't drop him. Emily tracked the shape as it disappeared over the ridge. Gone. Silence crashed back. Emily touched her cheek. Blood. Not much, just a scratch. You okay? Jack asked. Yeah, you? Better than I expected. Jack ejected his pistol mag, checked it. You hit him. I saw the impact. Left side, maybe collarbone area. But he's still moving. Body armor. Has to be. Jack reloaded. But armor doesn't stop the kinetic energy. He's hurt, bruised at minimum, maybe broken ribs. Will that slow him down? Not as much as we'd like. Jack's expression was grim. But it changes the equation. He came here thinking he was invincible. Now he knows he's not. So what's his move? He adapts, falls back, reassesses. Jack scanned the ridge where their enemy had vanished. And then he comes back meaner. Emily's hands shook as the adrenaline ebbed. I had him, Jack. I had the shot, and I missed. You didn't miss. You hit body armor. That's different. Jack's hand gripped her shoulder. And you did something more important. You made him bleed, even if it's just pride. That matters. Does it? In a sniper fight, pride is everything. It makes you angry, makes you rush, makes you sloppy. Jack's smile was thin, and we need him sloppy. Dawn came slow and red. Emily hadn't slept. Jack had dozed in 20-minute intervals, years of training letting him rest and stay alert simultaneously. Emily envied that skill. We need to move, Jack said as light painted the eastern sky. He'll circle, try to get above us again. This position is burned. Where to? East, toward the FOB perimeter. Jack checked Webb's sat phone. No new calls. Maybe 15 clicks. If we move fast, we can reach the wire by nightfall. That's a full day in the open. You got a better idea? Emily didn't. They packed light, Dragunov, 2 pistols, 1 canteen between them. Everything else stayed. Speed mattered now. They moved through the pre-dawn twilight, using every scrap of cover. Rocks, depressions, the skeletal remains of old Soviet bunkers. At 0700 hours, they heard the helicopter. Emily's heart leaped. Exfil? Wrong sound. Jack tilted his head, listening. That's Russian. Mi-8 transport. The helicopter appeared over the northern ridge. Big, olive drab. It circled once, then settled into a hover maybe 2 clicks north. "He's getting resupplied," Jack said quietly. "Fresh gear, fresh ammo, maybe reinforcements. Can we call for support?" "With what? Webb's phone?" Jack's laugh was bitter. "The moment we transmit, Alexander triangulates. And I'm guessing whoever's backing him has better signals intelligence than we do." The helicopter landed, stayed on the ground for 3 minutes, then lifted off and disappeared north. "We're outgunned now," Emily said. "We were always outgunned." Jack started moving again. "But we're not out of the fight." They pushed east. The sun climbed. The temperature soared. Emily's uniform clung to her skin. The single canteen was empty by 1000 hours. At 11:45, Jack collapsed. Not dramatically, just stopped, sat down heavily, breathing hard. "Jack?" Emily crouched beside him. His face was gray. Sweat poured down his temples. "Just need a minute," he gasped. "You need water, and we're out." "I'm fine." "You're not fine. You're 62, and we've been moving at combat pace for 6 hours in 100-degree heat." Emily scanned the horizon. No movement. "We need to find shade. Let you rest. We stop, we die. We don't stop, you die anyway." Emily's tone was flat. "Your call, old man, but I'm not carrying your corpse 15 clicks." Jack's laugh turned into a cough. "When did you get so mouthy?" "About the time someone started hunting us with helicopters." Emily spotted a rock overhang maybe 50 meters south. "There, get under that. I'll keep watch." Jack nodded, too tired to argue. Bad sign. They made it to the overhang. The shade was blessed relief. Jack slumped against the rock face, eyes closed. Emily took position at the overhang's edge. Scope up, watching. "Tell me about Beirut," she said quietly. Jack's eyes opened. "Why?" "Because I need to understand who we're fighting." Emily kept scanning. "Alexander said his father used Dmitri as bait. What did he mean?" Jack was silent for a long moment. "Viktor Sokolov was different. Most snipers hunt targets. He hunted hunters, other snipers. It was his specialty." "How?" "Bait and ambush. He'd put a good sniper, like Dmitri, in an obvious position. Let enemy snipers take the shot, and then Viktor would shoot them while they celebrated the kill." Jack's voice was distant. "Kowalski fell for it. I almost did too." "But you didn't take the second shot." "No, I waited. 11 hours, because something felt wrong." Jack's eyes refocused. "Dimitri's death was too easy, too clean. Viktor wanted me to think I'd won, wanted me to move, and the moment I did, he'd have killed me." "So what changed?" "A mortar strike, random fire, collapsed half the building I was in. I used the chaos to escape. By the time Viktor realized I was gone, I was 3 blocks away." Jack's smile was thin. "Luck, that's all. Dumb luck. And now his son wants revenge for a kill you didn't even make. He wants revenge for his father's humiliation. That I survived at all was an insult." Jack closed his eyes again. "And he's going to keep coming until one of us is dead. That's how men like Viktor, like Alexander, think. Legacy is everything." Emily's throat tightened. "Then we kill him first." "That's the idea." Jack's breathing had steadied. "Better. Give me 30 minutes, then we move again." Emily nodded, kept watch, and tried not to think about the helicopter, the fresh supplies, the fact that Alexander was out there right now, closing the distance. 20 minutes later, Emily saw the drone. Small, commercial-grade quadcopter, maybe 200 feet up, circling. "Jack," she said quietly, "we've got eyes on us." Jack was up instantly, fatigue forgotten. He followed her gaze. "Damn it! He's tracking us." "Has been for a while, probably." Jack's jaw tightened. "That's why he let us run. He doesn't need to chase, he just needs to follow." "Can we shoot it down?" "With a rifle? Maybe. But the moment we fire, he knows exactly where we are." Jack scanned the terrain. And there's nowhere to hide. This is all open ground for the next 2 clicks. Emily's mind raced. So we're pinned. Not pinned. Tracked. Jack's eyes narrowed. Which means he's watching us right now, waiting for us to make a mistake. What's the mistake? Running. Jack pointed east. That's what he expects. Panic. Flight. We bolt for the FOB and he picks the perfect ambush point, waits for us to walk into it. So we don't run. No, we stop. Jack's smile was grim. We find the best defensive position we can, make him come to us. And we make it so expensive that even if he wins, he loses. Emily looked at their ammunition. Dragunov, 6 rounds. Jack's pistol, 9 rounds. Her pistol, 11 rounds. 26 rounds total between them. That's not enough for a sustained firefight, she said. No, but it's enough to make him cautious. And cautious snipers make mistakes. Jack scanned the terrain again. There, that depression with the rocks. 300 meters south. We set up there. Clear sight lines, limited approach angles. He'll know what we're doing. Let him know. Let him see we're not running. Let him understand that if he wants us, he has to come through the kill zone. Jack's voice hardened. Sometimes the best defense is making the offense too costly. They moved to the depression. It was better than the watchtower. Lower profile, harder to approach without being seen. Rock walls on 3 sides. Clear view north where Alexander would have to come from. Emily set up the Dragunov. Jack positioned himself with the pistol, covering their 6. The drone circled, watching. How long do we wait? Emily asked. As long as it takes. Jack pulled the last protein bar from his vest, split it in half, handed her 1 piece. Eat. We might be here a while. Emily chewed mechanically. The bar tasted like cardboard and regret. Then the sat phone rang. Jack answered, put it on speaker. You surprise me, Alexander said. His voice was strained, breathing harder than before. Emily's shot had hurt him more than he'd let on. Most Americans run. You stop. Why? Because running makes you a target, Jack said. Standing your ground makes you a problem. Philosophical. I appreciate that. Alexander coughed, definitely hurt. But also futile. I have supplies, support, time. What do you have? Bullets, Emily said, and a very clear sight line. Alexander laughed. It turned into another cough. The girl has spirit. I like that. Tell me, Emily, do you know why your government sent you here? To eliminate Hassan Nazari. No, that was the excuse. The real reason? Alexander's voice dropped. You were bait, like Dmitri was bait. Your commanders knew I was here. They wanted to draw me out, and you were expendable enough to risk. Emily's blood went cold. That's a lie, Jack said. Is it? Check your mission orders. Who authorized this operation? Who selected Emily specifically? Who chose this location, this timing? Alexander paused. Someone in your chain of command has been feeding me intelligence for 6 months. Positions, patrol routes, sniper deployments. And when they learned Jack Morrison was training a new sniper, they saw an opportunity. To catch you, Jack said. To sacrifice you. Alexander's voice turned gentle, almost kind. I am sorry, Jack. You were a legend once. Now you are bait. Just like my father's friend Dmitri. Just like Emily. We are all pieces in someone else's game. The line went dead. Emily stared at the phone. He's lying. He has to be. Jack said nothing. Jack, tell me he's lying. I don't know. Jack's voice was hollow. But it would explain some things. How he knew our position. How Webb got our protocols. Why our exfil never came. You think someone set us up? I think someone knew Alexander was hunting me. And instead of warning me, they used me as bait. Jack's hands tightened into fists. And they used you too. Fresh sniper, first deployment, perfect target to draw out an enemy asset. Emily felt sick. Who? Someone with access. Someone high enough to redirect resources. Someone who thought catching a Russian sniper was worth burning 2 American lives. Jack's expression was stone. And when we get out of this, if we get out of this, I'm going to find out who. The drone circled for another hour. Then it flew north and disappeared. He's coming, Jack said. Emily tightened her grip on the Dragunov. How long? Could be minutes, could be hours. Jack checked his pistol for the 5th time. But he's coming, and he'll come fast. Try to overwhelm us before we can react. Maybe we should move. Find better? There is no better. Every position has weaknesses. At least here we know the angles. Jack's eyes never stopped moving. Trust the ground, Carter. Trust your training. And when he shows himself, don't hesitate. Emily nodded. Her mouth was dust dry, her hands steady. Fear and calm warring inside her. At 15:20 hours, the radio crackled. Not the sat phone. Emily's actual military radio. The one that had been silent since Ramirez died. Overwatch, this is Falcon 3. How copy? Emily's heart stuttered. Don't answer, Jack snapped. The transmission came again. Overwatch, Falcon 3. We have your position. Inbound for emergency exfil. Pop smoke for visual confirmation. The voice was American, professional, and completely wrong. Falcon 3 is an Apache call sign, Jack said quietly. But there are no Apaches in this sector. Haven't been for 2 weeks. So it's him. Or someone working with him. Jack's jaw tightened, and he's trying to get us to reveal our exact position. The radio crackled a 3rd time. Overwatch, this is your final chance. We're taking heavy fire and cannot maintain position. Confirm your status or we abort. Emily's finger moved toward the transmit button. Every instinct screamed to answer, to reach out, to grab the lifeline. Jack's hand caught her wrist. Don't. What if it's real? Then we're already dead. Jack's eyes bored into hers. Think, Carter. If Command wanted to extract us, they'd have sent a coded confirmation, a challenge response, something to verify identity. This is bait. Emily pulled her hand back. You're right, I'm sorry. Don't be sorry, be smart, Jack released her. He's getting desperate, that's good. Desperate snipers make mistakes. The radio went silent. In the quiet that followed, Emily heard something else. Faint, distant, rotors. Helicopter, she breathed. From the north. Jack's expression darkened. He brought friends. The sound grew louder. Emily spotted it through the scope. Same Mi-8 transport from earlier, but this time it wasn't alone. A second helicopter, smaller, an attack bird. Mi-24 Hind, Jack identified. Russian gunship. This just got a lot worse. The helicopters circled, high, maybe 2,000 feet, out of effective rifle range. Can they see us? Emily asked. Thermal imaging, definitely. Jack's voice was tight. And that gunship has a 12.7 millimeter rotary cannon. One pass in this position turns into a crater. So we run? We can't outrun a helicopter. Jack scanned the terrain. But we might be able to outlast them. Fuel is expensive. They can't stay airborne forever. The gunship broke formation, descended, lined up for a strafing run. Contact! Jack shouted. Get down! The world exploded in noise and fire. The cannon fire tore the desert apart. Emily pressed herself flat against the rock as 12.7 millimeter rounds chewed through stone and sand. The noise was apocalyptic. Dust and shrapnel filled the air. The gunship screamed past, rotors beating the air like war drums. You hit? Jack shouted over the ringing in her ears. No, you? Still breathing. Jack crawled to a different position. That was a ranging shot. Next pass will be on target. The gunship circled. Lining up again, Emily brought the Dragunov up, aimed at the cockpit. 6 rounds left. Futile against armored glass, but she had to try. Wait, Jack grabbed her arm. Don't waste ammunition. He's not the threat. That cannon says otherwise. The cannon is loud, makes you focus on the helicopter, but that's not what kills you. Jack pointed. There, 2 o'clock, ground level. Emily swung the scope, scanned, found him. 300 meters out, moving through a wadi, using the helicopter noise as cover. Alexander. He moved with a pronounced limp. Emily's earlier shot had done more damage than they'd thought, but he was still coming. Rifle up, professional. He used the gunship as distraction, Jack said. Classic Soviet doctrine. Suppress with air, attack with ground. The gunship lined up for another pass. I can't shoot both, Emily said. You don't have to. Jack drew his pistol. I'll handle the helicopter. With a pistol? I'm not trying to kill it, just make the pilot nervous. Jack's smile was wild. You focus on Alexander. That's the shot that matters. The gunship opened fire again. Jack stood up, completely exposed, and emptied his pistol at the cockpit. Emily didn't watch. She was already tracking Alexander through the scope. He'd stopped, rifle up, aiming at Jack. Emily fired first. The Dragunov kicked. Through the scope, Emily saw Alexander jerk, but he didn't fall. Body armor. Again. Alexander's rifle barked. Jack spun, went down. Jack! Emily's scream was lost in helicopter noise. Alexander was moving again, faster now, closing the distance. Emily worked the bolt, fired again. Miss. Rock exploded near Alexander's head. He dove for cover. The gunship pulled up, rotors straining. Jack's pistol fire hadn't hit anything vital, but it had forced the pilot to break off. Small victories. Emily had 4 rounds left. Jack wasn't moving, and Alexander was 200 meters away and getting closer. Emily's hands shook. Focus, breathing, the fundamentals Jack had drilled into her. She settled the crosshairs on the wadi opening where Alexander would have to emerge. Waited. 1 second. 2. 3. Movement. Emily fired. Hit. Shoulder this time. Alexander went down behind a rock. 3 rounds left. Jack, Emily called. Jack, talk to me. Nothing. Emily risked a glance. Jack was on his back. Red spread across his left thigh. But his chest was moving. Alive. For now. The helicopter was circling back. Alexander was wounded, but still in the fight. And Emily had 3 rounds between her and death. Emily made a decision. She couldn't defend this position, couldn't protect Jack, couldn't hold off both Alexander and a gunship. But she could do one thing. She could hunt. Jack, she shouted, I'm going mobile. Stay down. If Jack heard, he didn't respond. Blood pooled beneath his leg. Too much blood. Emily grabbed the Dragunov. 3 rounds. Made them count. She scrambled out of the depression, moving perpendicular to Alexander's last position. The gunship was still circling, but the pilot seemed reluctant to strafe without ground support. Good. Emily used the terrain. Rocks. Gullies. Moving fast and low. She'd lost sight of Alexander, but she knew where he'd be. Men who were hurt, who were bleeding, they went to ground, found cover, tried to stabilize. There, a cluster of rocks 200 meters north, perfect hide for a wounded sniper. Emily circled wide, came at it from the side, scope up, breathing controlled. And there he was, Alexander Sokolov, pressed against the rock face, left shoulder dark with blood, but his rifle was up, scanning for her. Emily settled into a firing position, crosshairs on his chest. Body armor there, she knew. But she had an angle now, side profile, where armor was thinner. Finger on the trigger. Alexander's head turned. Their eyes met across 200 meters. He smiled. Emily fired. The rifle kicked. Through the scope, she saw the impact. Center mass. Alexander staggered, but didn't fall. His rifle came up, lightning fast. Emily rolled left as his shot cracked past her ear. Rock exploded where her head had been. 2 rounds left. She came up, worked the bolt, fired again. Hit. This time Alexander went to one knee, but his rifle never wavered. They fired simultaneously. Emily felt the impact, left side, below the ribs. The world went bright and sharp and wrong. 1 round left. Alexander was standing now, swaying, both of them bleeding, both refusing to fall. The helicopter circled. Neither of them cared. This was between them now. Emily's hands shook as she worked the bolt one last time, chambered the final round. Alexander did the same. 2 snipers, 1 bullet each. The world narrowed to the circle of the scope. Emily's breathing steadied. This was it. Everything Jack had taught her. Everything Benning had drilled into her. Everything she was. Alexander's crosshairs found her. Emily's found him. They both fired. Emily woke to pain and rotor noise. She was on her back, sky above, too bright. Someone was shouting medical jargon. Her side was on fire. "Stay still," a voice commanded, American. "You've got a through and through. You're going to be okay." Emily tried to sit up. Hands pushed her down. "Alexander," she gasped. "The hostile? He's down. You got him." The medic, young, competent, worked on her side. "Clean lung shot. He bled out before we reached him." "Jack?" The older male? "Wounded but stable, already on the bird." The medic tied off a pressure bandage. "You saved his life. Got the hostile before he could finish the job." Emily's vision swam. "How did you find us?" "Satellite picked up the gunfire, dispatched a QRF." The medic glanced at the sky. "You two have friends in high places. Someone wanted you out fast." Or wanted to control the narrative, Emily thought distantly. Make sure no one asked the wrong questions. But that was a problem for later. Right now, she was alive. Jack was alive. And Alexander Sokolov, son of Victor, last of a dying breed of Cold War killers, was dead. "Can I see him?" Emily asked. "The hostile?" The medic hesitated. "I don't think I need to see him." The medic sighed, helped her to her feet. Emily limped 20 meters to where Alexander lay. He looked smaller in death. Just a man, maybe 40, dark hair going gray, a face that could have been handsome before the desert and the blood. His eyes were open, staring at nothing. Emily knelt beside him, found his rifle, a Dragunov like hers, customized, well-maintained, loved. On the stock, carved in Cyrillic, were 2 names, Viktor Sokolov, Dmitry Volkov. "His father and his father's friend," Emily whispered. "What?" the medic asked. "Nothing." Emily stood, looked at the man she'd killed. He was just trying to be remembered. The helicopter was waiting. Jack was inside, conscious, gray-faced but alive. "You made the shot," he said as they loaded Emily on the stretcher beside him. "You taught me." "No, I taught you the basics. You figured out the rest." Jack's hand found hers, squeezed. "You're a sniper now, Carter. The real thing." Emily closed her eyes. The helicopter lifted off. Below, the desert swallowed the bodies. The blood. The proof. Like it always did. Bagram Airfield, military hospital, 3 days later. Emily Carter lay in a bed that smelled of disinfectant and institutional sheets. Her side was wrapped tight. The doctors said she'd been lucky. Another 2 inches and the bullet would have nicked her liver. As it was, she'd lost a rib and a pint of blood. Lucky. Jack was 2 rooms down. Vascular surgery had saved his leg, but the recovery would be long. At 62, nothing healed fast. Emily stared at the ceiling and counted tiles. 47. She'd counted them 6 times in the last hour. The door opened. A man entered. Civilian clothes, 50-something, gray hair cut military short, eyes that had seen things and filed them away in folders marked secret. "Captain Carter," he said. No introduction. "I'm here to debrief you." You have a name? Emily asked. Not one you'll remember. He pulled a chair to her bedside. Saturday. I need to know everything that happened in Helmand, from insertion to extraction. My report already. Your report was sanitized by Field Command. I need the real version. The man's tone was flat, professional. Starting with Staff Sergeant Marcus Webb. Emily's jaw tightened. Webb was the hitter, tried to kill us. We killed him first. Yes, you indicated he was working with a Russian sniper, Alexander Sokolov. That's right. And Alexander claimed the operation was compromised, that someone in your chain of command set you up as bait. Emily met his eyes. He did. Do you believe him? I don't know what I believe. Emily shifted, wincing as pain flared. But I know someone leaked our position. Someone fed Webb our protocols. Someone made sure our exfil didn't come. The man nodded slowly. Staff Sergeant Webb was declared KIA in Syria 2 years ago. His body was never recovered. We assumed he'd been captured and killed by ISIS. You assumed wrong. Yes, we did. The man pulled a tablet from his briefcase, showed her a photo. Do you recognize this man? Emily looked. The photo showed a middle-aged man in army dress uniform, colonel rank, face she'd seen once, at the mission briefing. Colonel Pierce, Emily said. He authorized our mission. Colonel Thomas Pierce, military intelligence, 32 years of service, spotless record. The man paused. He died yesterday. Car accident outside Fort Meade. Very tragic. Emily's blood went cold. That's convenient, isn't it? The man put the tablet away. We're investigating, but between you and me, Captain, we won't find anything. Pierce covered his tracks too well, and dead men can't testify. So that's it? He sets us up, gets us hunted, and nothing happens? I didn't say nothing happens. The man's expression was stone. I said we won't find anything official. There are other ways to handle these things. Emily understood. Some justice happened in courtrooms. Some happened in the dark. What about Alexander? She asked. Alexander Sokolov, age 41, former Spetsnaz, dishonorably discharged in 2015 for insubordination. Worked as a contractor for various clients. Russia, Syria, Ukraine. The man recited facts like reading a grocery list. His father, Viktor Sokolov, was KGB, legendary sniper, retired in 1992, died of cancer in 2022. Alexander wanted revenge for Beirut, Emily said, for a man my partner killed 40 years ago. Not killed, embarrassed. The man's tone softened fractionally. In Soviet doctrine, snipers were artists, warriors, legends. Viktor Sokolov's greatest shame was letting Jack Morrison walk away. Alexander spent his whole life trying to erase that shame. By killing us. By proving he was better. By finishing what his father started. The man stood. He failed. You're alive. Alexander is dead. That's victory. Doesn't feel like victory. It never does. The man moved to the door, paused. One more thing, Captain. The official story is that you and Chief Morrison engaged and neutralized a hostile force that ambushed your position. Marcus Webb's name won't appear in any report. Neither will Colonel Pierce's. And Alexander Sokolov will be listed as an unidentified hostile KIA. So we're just supposed to forget? You're supposed to survive. The man's eyes held something that might have been sympathy. That's what soldiers do. They survive, and they carry the weight of what survival costs. He left. Emily was alone with her ceiling tiles again. 47. Jack hobbled into her room that evening, crutches under his arms, face gray with pain, but his eyes were clear. You're not supposed to be walking, Emily said. I'm not supposed to be a lot of things. Jack lowered himself into the chair with a grunt. But here we are. They sat in silence for a moment. Two snipers who'd survived the impossible. Two people who'd looked death in the scope and fired first. I killed him, Emily said quietly. Alexander. I shot him in the lung, watched him bleed out. I know. It doesn't feel, I don't know. I thought it would feel different. Different how? Like closure, like an ending. Emily's hands twisted the hospital sheet. But it just feels empty. Jack nodded. First kill is always hard, even when it's righteous, even when it's them or you. Nazari was my first kill. No, Nazari was your first target. Alexander was your first kill. Jack's tone was gentle. You looked him in the eye, made a choice, took a life. That's different. That changes you. I don't want to be changed. Too late. Jack's smile was sad. You're a sniper now, Carter. For real. That weight never leaves you. You just learn to carry it. Emily's eyes burned. She refused to cry. Snipers didn't cry. Except they did. In the quiet moments, when no one was watching. Tell me it gets easier, she whispered. It doesn't. Jack's honesty was brutal and kind. But you get stronger. Learn to live with it. Find ways to make peace with what you've done. How do you make peace with this? You don't. You make purpose. Jack leaned forward. Every shot I've taken, every life I've ended, I carry them, remember their faces, their names if I knew them. And I use that weight to make sure the next shot matters, that the next kill has meaning. Did killing Dmitri have meaning? At the time, I thought so. Now, Jack shrugged. I killed a good man who was fighting for his country because my country told me to. Was that right? Was it wrong? I don't know, but I live with it. Honor his memory by trying to be better than I was. Emily wiped her eyes. Alexander said the mission was a setup, that we were bait. He was right. You believe him? I believe someone in our chain of command knew he was hunting me, and instead of pulling me out, they used me, and you, as an opportunity to neutralize him. Jack's jaw tightened. They gambled our lives on the chance that we'd be good enough to kill him first. Who? Pierce. Had to be. He had the access, the authority. Jack's expression was stone. And now he's conveniently dead before anyone can ask questions. The man who debriefed me said it was a car accident. I'm sure it was. Jack's tone was flat. Just like it'll be a car accident if anyone else asks too many questions about Helmand. That's how these things work. Loose ends get tied off. Stories get cleaned up, and the truth stays buried in the sand. So we just accept it? We accept that we survived, that we did our jobs, that we killed a man who killed Americans. Jack met her eyes. And we accept that sometimes the enemy isn't the one shooting at you. Sometimes it's the one who put you in the crosshairs. 4 days later, Emily was cleared for light duty. Her side ached, walking was painful, but she could move. Jack was still in recovery, would be for weeks. Emily sat in his room. They played cards, talked about nothing, avoided talking about everything. Then a nurse brought a package. This came for you, Chief, she said, handing it to Jack. No return address, just a name. Victor Sokolov. Jack and Emily stared at it. Open it, Emily said. Jack did. Inside was a single sheet of paper, handwritten in English. The handwriting was precise, military. Jack read aloud. Jack Morrison, if you are reading this, my son is dead. I knew this day would come. Alexander was brilliant, skilled, but he carried anger I could never teach him to release. He believed you killed Dmitri. He believed you humiliated me. He was wrong on both counts. You did not kill Dmitri. I did. He was too good, too visible. American intelligence was closing in. He would have been captured, tortured, made to reveal Soviet training methods. I could not allow that. So I used your shot as cover, killed my friend, let you take the blame, let you carry the weight of a kill you never made. As for humiliation, there was none. You survived Beirut through skill and patience. You earned your survival. I respected that. regretted only that we never met as equals. 2 snipers, 1 shot. That would have been a clean end. Alexander did not understand this. He saw only dishonor, sought only revenge. And so he died, as I knew he would, hunting a ghost of his own making. I write this letter now in the last days of my life because I wish you to know the truth. You were a worthy adversary, and I am sorry my son made you his enemy. Do not mourn him. He died as he chose, rifle in hand, honor in heart, pursuing a purpose only he could see. That is all any soldier can ask. Respectfully, Viktor Sokolov, October 2022. The room was silent. Emily's throat was tight. He knew. Viktor knew Alexander would come after you. And he couldn't stop it. Jack folded the letter carefully. He died 3 years ago, wrote this knowing Alexander wouldn't listen, knowing his son would waste his life on revenge that didn't need to happen. Jesus. Yeah, Jack stared at the paper. I killed Dmitri without knowing it, carried that weight my whole career, and it was Viktor's bullet all along. Does that change anything? I don't know. Jack's voice was hollow. I still pulled the trigger in Beirut, still celebrated the kill. Does it matter whose bullet actually ended him? I think it does. Maybe. Jack tucked the letter into his jacket. Or maybe it just means we're all carrying weight that isn't ours, shouldering blame for things we didn't do, fighting wars that were over before we were born. Emily thought about Alexander, his face in the scope, his smile before they fired. He'd been 41, spent his whole life training to kill a man he'd never met for a crime that never happened. What a waste. What do we do now? Emily asked. We heal, we remember, we move forward. Jack's smile was thin. And we try not to fuck up the next generation as badly as we were fucked up. 2 weeks later, Emily stood in dress uniform. The ceremony was small, private, just a handful of officers in a conference room at Bagram. Her wounds still ached. Jack stood beside her, crutches propped against his chair. A general whose name Emily immediately forgot pinned a bronze star to her uniform, spoke words about valor, sacrifice, duty. Emily stood at attention and felt nothing. The medal was pretty, meant something to someone, but it didn't bring back Ramirez, didn't unkill Alexander, didn't erase the fact that someone had thrown her and Jack into a meat grinder and called it tactics. After the ceremony, an aide handed her orders. You've been reassigned, he said. Stateside, training duty at Benning. Training duty? Emily blinked. I'm a field operative. Not anymore. The aide's tone was carefully neutral. Your medical evaluations indicate you're not fit for forward deployment. Recommendation is instructor duty until further notice. Emily's jaw tightened. Who made that evaluation? Command. Translation. Someone wanted her sidelined, somewhere safe, somewhere she couldn't ask inconvenient questions about Helmand. Jack got his orders too. Medical retirement, full pension, honorable discharge. They stood in the hallway outside the conference room, 2 snipers being put out to pasture. They're burying us, Emily said quietly. Yep. Jack didn't seem surprised. Can't have soldiers who know too much running around causing problems. Easier to pin medals on us and ship us somewhere quiet. This is bullshit. This is the military. Jack's tone was matter of fact. You can fight it, file complaints, raise hell, and you'll lose. Or you can take the assignment, do the job, train the next generation to be better than we were. Is that what you're going to do? Just accept this? I'm 62 with a ruined leg and too many memories. I was done anyway. Jack met her eyes. But you're 27. You've got decades ahead of you. You can fight the system and get crushed, or you can work within it. Change it from the inside. Make sure the next Emily Carter has someone who'll tell her the truth. Emily wanted to scream, wanted to throw the medal across the room, wanted to find whoever made these decisions and ask them how they live with themselves. But Jack was right. Fighting would accomplish nothing. Training duty meant she shaped the next generation. Teach them to question orders, think critically, survive when the system tried to spend their lives. Fine, Emily said. I'll take the assignment. Good. Jack offered his hand. It's been an honor, Captain Carter. Emily shook it. Honor's all yours, Chief Morrison. They both knew they were lying, but sometimes lies were all that held things together. The C-130 lifted off from Bagram at 0600 hours. Emily sat in the cargo bay with 40 other soldiers heading stateside. Most slept. Some stared at nothing. A few played cards. Emily watched through the small window as Afghanistan fell away below. Mountains, desert, villages that had seen too many wars. All of it shrinking until it was just brown earth and blue sky. Somewhere down there, Alexander Sokolov was buried. Unmarked grave, no ceremony, just sand and silence. Somewhere else, Marcus Webb rotted. Another ghost in a war full of them. And in Arlington, eventually, Jack Morrison would be laid to rest. Full honors, flag-draped coffin, taps played by a soldier who'd never known him. Emily touched the bronze star pinned to her uniform. For valor. She wondered what Viktor Sokolov's medals had said. If he'd been buried with honors. If his son had worn his father's medals before hunting Jack. Probably. Men like Viktor didn't do things by half measures. And men like Alexander inherited that completeness, that totality of purpose. Emily closed her eyes, saw Alexander's smile through the scope, heard the rifle kick, watched him fall. She'd carry that moment forever. Jack had been right about that. The weight never left. You just learned to carry it. The C-130 droned on. Hours passed. Emily drifted in and out of sleep, dreamed of rifles and desert and men who smiled before they died. When she woke, they were over the Atlantic. Almost home, whatever that meant now. Fort Benning, 6 months later. Emily Carter stood on the range, watching a class of new snipers. 20 candidates, 18 men, 2 women, all of them thinking they were going to be the next legend. Most would wash out, a few would make it. 1 or 2 might be exceptional. Emily's job was to find the exceptional ones and make sure they didn't die stupid. Captain Carter? One of the candidates approached. Young, maybe 23, eager. I wanted to ask about Helmand. The reports say you engaged a hostile sniper at... Reports are bullshit, Emily cut in. They're written by people who weren't there to make people who don't care feel better about sending you to die. The candidate blinked. Okay, but... You want to know what Helmand taught me? Emily's tone was flat. It taught me that talent isn't enough. Luck isn't enough. Even being right isn't enough. What matters is staying alive long enough to learn from your mistakes, and not making mistakes other people have to die for. Yes, ma'am. You know why I'm here? Why they pulled me from the field and stuck me on instructor duty? Because you're a decorated sniper? Because I survived something that should have killed me. And command doesn't know what to do with survivors who ask questions. Emily met the candidate's eyes. So they gave me you. A classroom full of kids who think war is about being the best shot, about medals and glory and legacy. Isn't it? No, Emily's voice was hard. War is about surviving long enough to go home, about making choices in the dark with incomplete information and living with the consequences, about carrying the weight of every trigger you pull for the rest of your life. The candidate looked uncomfortable. That's pretty dark, ma'am. Yeah, it is. Emily softened slightly. But if you understand that now, really understand it, you might live long enough to teach the next class. The candidate nodded. Headed back to the firing line, Emily watched them practice, watched them miss, watched them adjust and try again. Jack's words echoed in her head. Train the next generation to be better than we were. She could do that. She would do that. Even if it meant she'd never hold a rifle in combat again. Even if it meant watching from the sidelines while other people fought. Because someone had to tell these kids the truth. Someone had to make sure the next sniper sent into hell had half a chance of coming back. That night, Emily's phone rang. Unknown number. She almost didn't answer. Probably a recruiter or a wrong number. But something made her pick up. Hello? Captain Carter? The voice was male, older, tired. This is Colonel Martinez. I served with Jack Morrison in the 90s. Emily sat up. Is Jack okay? He's fine. Cranky as hell about physical therapy, but fine. Martinez chuckled. I'm calling because he asked me to check in on you. Make sure you're settling into instructor duty. It's fine. That's what he said you'd say. Martinez's tone turned serious. Listen, Carter, I know what happened in Helmand. The real story, not the sanitized version. Emily's hand tightened on the phone. How? Because I was the one who ordered the investigation into Pierce. And I was the one who made sure his car accident looked like an accident. Martinez paused. You and Morrison were set up, used as bait. That should never have happened, and I'm sorry it did. Apologies don't bring back Ramirez. No, they don't. Martinez was quiet for a moment. But I want you to know that Pierce didn't act alone. We're still digging, still finding threads, and when we pull them all, people are going to pay. Will they? I'm going to make sure of it. Martinez's voice was steel. Because if we don't hold people accountable, if we let them throw soldiers into the grinder and walk away, then we're no better than the enemy. Emily wanted to believe him, wanted to believe justice was possible, but she'd seen too much, knew too much. Thank you for calling, Colonel, she said neutrally. Carter, Martinez's tone softened. Jack says you're one of the best he's ever trained, says you've got the instincts and the ethics to be something special. Don't let Helmand break that. Don't let the bastards make you bitter. I'll try. That's all any of us can do. Martinez hung up. Emily sat in her apartment, bare walls, minimal furniture, the life of someone who'd never expected to come home. She should decorate, buy things, make this place feel like more than a temporary stop. Maybe tomorrow. Tonight she poured herself 2 fingers of whiskey, sat on the couch, stared at nothing, thought about Alexander, Victor, Dimitri, Jack, Ramirez, Pierce, all the names and faces that orbited around 40 years of grudges and mistakes and wars that never really ended. Thought about the letter Victor had written. Do not mourn him. He died as he chose. Emily raised her glass. To Alexander Sokolov, she said to the empty room. You were a hell of a sniper, and you died for all the wrong reasons. She drank. The whiskey burned. She poured another. 3 months later, Emily stood in the classroom. 12 candidates remained. 8 had washed out. 4 quit. The rest sat at attention, waiting for her to speak. Today we're going to talk about sniper duels, Emily said. And I'm going to tell you something most instructors won't, something the manual doesn't cover. She had their attention now. In a sniper duel, talent is necessary but not sufficient. Your opponent is just as trained, just as patient, just as deadly. So what decides the outcome? Silence. Anyone? Emily looked at the candidates. No guesses? No tactical theories? One raised a hand. Better position? Helps, not decisive. Another. Superior equipment? Marginal at best. A third. Luck? Getting warmer, Emily paced. The truth is, in a true sniper duel between equals, 3 things decide the winner. First, purpose. Why are you fighting? Is it just a mission? Or is it something deeper? Second, adaptability. Can you change your approach when the first plan fails? Third, willingness to die. That got uncomfortable looks. Let me explain. Emily stopped pacing. Most snipers, most soldiers have something to lose. A life back home, people they love, dreams they want to fulfill. That's healthy. That's human. But in a duel, it's a weakness. Because the sniper who's already decided they're dead, They'll take risks you won't. They'll hold positions you'd abandon. They'll make the shot you'd hesitate on. So we should want to die? One candidate asked skeptically. No, you should understand that your opponent might, and that changes everything. Emily's voice was flat. I fought a sniper who had nothing to lose. His entire purpose was revenge, his father's legacy. His mission was to kill me or die trying, and that made him incredibly dangerous. How did you beat him? I didn't want to die more than he wanted to kill me. Emily met the candidate's eyes. I had reasons to survive. He had reasons to die. And when it came down to one bullet each, my reason was stronger. The room was silent. Here's what I want you to remember, Emily said quietly. Every shot you take in combat is a choice. Choose wrong and you die. Choose right and someone else dies. And you live with that choice forever. So make sure your choices matter. Make sure you're fighting for something worth carrying the weight of. She dismissed the class. Sat alone in the empty classroom, Jack's voice in her head. We train the next generation to be better than we were. Emily hoped she was doing that. Hoped these kids would be smarter, faster, better prepared than she'd been. Hoped they'd never have to learn the lessons Helmand had taught her. But she knew better. Some lessons only came in blood. 1 year after Helmand, Emily stood at Arlington National Cemetery. Black dress uniform, white gloves, the bronze star on her chest caught morning sunlight. Jack Morrison's funeral. He died 3 days ago. Heart attack. Quick. Peaceful. At home. The way snipers rarely got to die. Emily stood with the other mourners, other soldiers, other survivors, people who'd known Jack in different wars, different times. The honor guard fired 3 volleys. Taps played. The flag was folded with mechanical precision. They offered it to Jack's sister, his only living relative. She accepted it with trembling hands. Emily waited until the crowd dispersed, then approached the grave. Hey, Jack, she said quietly. Hope you're not too pissed about the fuss. The headstone was simple. Name, rank, dates. A rifle engraved beneath. No mention of Beirut. No mention of Helmand. Just a life reduced to marble and dates. I'm still teaching, Emily continued. Still trying to do what you said. Make them better than we were. It's hard. They're so young. So sure they're invincible. A breeze rustled through the cemetery trees. I think about Alexander sometimes. Wonder what he'd have been if his father had lived longer. If Victor had told him the truth. If that letter had reached him before it was too late. Emily's throat tightened. But then I remember, we don't get to choose the stories we're born into, just how we end them. She pulled something from her pocket, Victor's letter, the one Jack had kept. I'm giving this back to you, Emily said. Figured you'd want it wherever you're going. And besides, she smiled, maybe you and Victor can finally have that talk. 2 snipers, no war, just respect. She placed the letter on the grave, stood at attention, saluted. See you around, Chief. Emily walked away, didn't look back. Behind her, the letter fluttered in the wind. Victor's handwriting, Jack's burden, all of it dust in memory now. But Emily carried them both forward, carried them in the lessons she taught, carried them in the way she looked through scopes, carried them in the knowledge that every shot mattered, every choice had weight, every soldier deserved the truth. She'd give them that truth. For Jack, for Ramirez, for Alexander, for Victor, for Dimitri, for everyone who died believing their purpose mattered. Because in the end, that's all any of them had. Purpose, and the weight of trying to be worth it.